Welcome to the fastest growing radio audience in America. From the city of entertainment, you are listening to Las Vegas Backstage Now, the only show that gets personal with the stars. Brought to you by Dr. Gary Lee from the Horizon Ridge Wellness Clinic in Henderson, Nevada. Dr. Gary Lee specializes in Botox and fillers at affordable prices and always offers free consultations. Welcome to Las Vegas Backstage Now with your host, comedian Michele LaFong.
And hey, what an interesting night we have here on Las Vegas Backstage Now. We have the difference between day and night guests here. It's almost comical. We have, I'm not going to say who's day and who's night. You guys are going to have to figure that one out on your own. We have Jon Taffer, who is a guru in bar management, and he's host and co-executive producer of Bar Rescue on Spike TV. He's also president of Nightclub and Bar Media Group and includes Nightclub and Bar Magazine and Nightclub and Bar Convention, and I could go on and on and on. He's chairman of Taffer Dynamics Incorporated, which is a consulting company. And we have Monti Rock III, who is a columnist, a singer, an entertainer, an ordained reverend, pop icon and legend, and nobody has any idea why, especially him.
But he's a heck of a dresser.
He's a heck of a. Did you notice that?
Right away.
Jon Taffer is sitting here. You know, he pulled up in a leopard car.
It makes perfect sense, but that clashed with his jacket a little bit, didn't it?
In his eyes, it's perfect.
Well, I think that's what makes it work. Eclectic.
He is crazy, and I love that. You call it eclectic. I'm not politically correct. I call it nuts. And I guess I gave away the day and night thing. I mean, it is just so funny to me when I looked at who is on the show. I'm like, who books this? And then I realize it's me. And then I slap myself. No, because I think it's a really funny booking, and I love when it turns out that way.
Yeah, well, it stretches you a little bit. It makes it more fun, doesn't it, Michele?
Absolutely. So I've been having so much fun talking to you. We're talking to Jon Taffer, who is, what I love is that you're the host and you're co-executive producer of Bar Rescue on Spike TV, which I find very entertaining, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of it.
I wasn't aware of the show until a lot of my friends told me I have to watch the show. Now, you're on hiatus right now.
We are. We're in the middle of shooting season 2. So I just finished the 4th episode. I'm on hiatus for a week to rest my feet from the Nightclub and Bar Convention, and then we shoot 6 more over the next 2
now
months.
You were just now at the Bar and Nightclub Convention here in Las Vegas, and this isn't your first rodeo. I mean, you were here how long ago?
27 years ago, we started this event here in Las Vegas.
And you've been doing it continuously.
Every year.
Now, you're a very successful keynote speaker. What do you like doing better? Do you like speaking more, or do you like doing the reality show? Or, if you had to pick one, which would it be?
Boy, at the moment you're doing it, speaking is great. And you know that as a comedian.
Oh, I love it.
When you're looking at an audience and they're reacting to you and sitting up and you know you're touching them and it's real, it's happening at that moment, you can't beat that.
No.
On the other hand, I get to make a TV show. In the last 3 days at the Nightclub and Bar Convention, I shook hands with people I never met that I touched in England and Ireland and Idaho and Florida. And to think that I could touch these people through that show and shake those hands and look in those eyes, pretty cool as well.
Wow. Now, were they aware of you? Did they know who Jon Taffer was before your reality show? Or did the reality show place you in a different situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. You're the first person who actually asked me that. I've been doing the nightclub work for 35 years. I've won Operator of the Year twice, Property of the Year, Nightclub Hall of Fame. So I've been a brand in the industry, in the B2B industry, for a long, long time. My books sell, my speeches, I travel around the country. I just gave the keynote speech at the Fridays convention. So I've been out there 35 years building my brand. So when they wanted to find the right guy for a reality show, I was the logical choice for it. So when I pitched it.
So it was someone. Oh, you pitched it. Tell me how this happened.
Well, what happened was I had given a speech at the Vegas convention right here in Las Vegas at the Nightclub Bar and Convention 3 years ago.
Okay.
And somebody comes up to me and says, "You really need to be on TV." And it's funny, the year before I had created a concept for a reality show called Bar Wars.
Bar Wars. I
Bar
love
Wars.
that.
And it was funny when we were talking earlier about how projects get left aside. So I put it together, I wrote it up, and I had connections in Hollywood, and then I got busy doing something else, and I never did it. So a year later, he said that to me. So we dusted it off, the two of us collaborated, and we put together a concept called On the Rocks. Was the first show concept.
That's another good name.
Not a bad one.
Yeah.
And then we went and we recorded a 3-minute sizzle reel at a bar in Hermosa Beach, which was pretty much me screaming at a bunch of employees for 3 minutes. And then
It's tough work, but somebody
had
got to
to
do
do
it.
it.
Yep.
And then we took that reel and we pitched it to a few people in Los Angeles. And I'm very fortunate in that Three Ball picked it up right away. Three Ball Productions, which is iWorks, who produces The Biggest Loser, Master Chef, even Danny Bonaducci's show. About 30 reality shows.
Wow.
They're the best. And they picked up the show, and literally within a week, Spike bought it.
That's amazing.
And when I put the show together, it was really important to me that it wasn't a TNA show. I wanted something smart, Michelle. I wanted to show the bar business that it's hard, that we are serious professionals in a hard business, not a bunch of guys walking around with half-naked girls stumbling half-drunk.
Now, were the other people who you were pitching to on the same page with that, or did they want TNA?
Well, it's a great question. There were 3 different companies that actually bought my show. And I won't mention who they were.
Okay.
But, a company A was an English-based firm who does some drama shows, and they pitched a deal to me, and there was a second company who pitched another deal in Three Ball. I got to tell you how my wife got in the show, because it's actually a funny story, and I've never told this on the air before.
Okay,
good.
I'm
going to tell it to you because I think you will really appreciate this.
Well, thank you. Okay.
I'm sitting in a Hollywood office, and I won't say with what company, on the studio lot with the sound stages all around me, and I'm pitching my deal to a TV development guy who's not even looking me in the face, chomping on salad as I'm talking to him, not even giving me the dignity
Very
of looking
typical.
in my face, you bet. And I pitch him my show, and I didn't have my reel yet. It was just an idea. And he looks at me and says, you're too old for a reality show. We had somebody young and sexy. So I looked at him and said, really? My wife is 20 years younger than me, and she is a reasonably good looking. He goes, you got a picture on your phone? I said, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
I pulled out the picture on my phone, showed it to him. He goes, what does she do? I said, she's my spy.
You pimped out your wife.
And she's been in the show ever since. And never was she actually in the original plan of the show, and she's turned into, she's been my wife for a long time. She's my best friend. And she is younger than me. So when I'm doing nightclub projects, even before the TV show, I could say to my wife, do me a favor, honey, dress up a little sexy, go in there for an hour, get me the scoop. What the hell's going on?
I love
in
it.
this
My
place?
husband's the same way.
We trust each other. So
Yeah.
she'll go in, she can sit at a table with a bunch of girls, and they'll talk to her. She can certainly sit at a table with a bunch of guys, and they'll talk to her. She'll walk up to a bartender and say, how do you get a free drink in this place? And we'll see if he gives. So she's been doing this for me for a long time. So it was natural to bring her into this role.
Wow. If you're just joining us, you are listening to Jon Taffer, who is the host and co-executive producer of Bar Rescue, which is a big hit on Spike TV. And it is so interesting. Even though you're on hiatus, you can watch all the episodes online
on
in
Spike,
full.
or you can get them at iTunes.
Us too.
Yep.
Las Vegas Backstage Now. We're going to use that time to pitch that we are also available on iTunes. And we also archive all of our past shows. So if you miss something, you can always go back and watch it. So,
I will be downloading it myself tonight.
Will you?
I will.
Wow. I'm really impressed.
And now I can picture what it's like to look in your eyes when I listen, Michelle. How's that?
Well, thank you so much. I'm really impressed with that. Now, I have to tell you which ones are my favorites, so
Okay.
you can know which ones to go to. The ones I'm in, they're all my favorites.
Of course. And I imagine they're the best overall anyway.
Yeah, the fact that I'm in all of them, I guess, just happens to be a coincidence. So we were talking earlier about, because you are a bar, a nightclub guru, where you come in, you rescue these venues. It's like their last chance.
It is.
They're almost bankrupt, and you come in. Now, do you get paid?
Well,
Do you get paid for the venues that come in, do they just call you and say, help me, help me?
No, what happens is there's a whole casting process that happens, and there's a casting company that's brought in. And first of all, we need to make certain they're not criminals, they don't owe tax money, etc.
Oh, okay.
Then we need to make sure that they're not BSing us and just want a free remodel out of the deal, right? And they're not really struggling at all. So we want to make certain that it's a real situation.
Do they get paid for their appearance?
No, we have paid the landlord who rents space to them on occasion a fee to use the building just to make this. But no, they got a remodel out of the deal.
Wow. Well, we have to take a break, but we have so much more with Guru and Star and everything. Don't go anywhere. John is not going anywhere. Do not go. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more personal backstage interviews with the celebrities on Las Vegas Backstage Now. And now more of Las Vegas Backstage Now, bringing to you backstage stories with today's celebrities. Now here's your host, comedian Michele LaFong.
Hey, and we are returning with Jon Taffer. We have so much to talk about, and don't forget to stay tuned for Monti Rock III. What a character he is. He's a columnist, singer, entertainer, ordained reverend, pop icon. It goes on and on and on, and he's driving a leopard car, which it's a shame you cannot take a look at because it is a sight to behold. Right, John?
Oh, absolutely.
So we were talking about Tony Robbins because I'm a big Tony Robbins follower, sort of. I mean, not in a corporate way, in a self-improvement type of way. For over 20 years, I've been trying to get to the last tape of Tony Robbins. Do you know that no matter how many times I try to do it, I can't. I always say to myself, I'm going to consecutively listen to these tapes every single day. But because I'm a perfectionist, somehow it always happens around day 8 or 9, and it goes all the way to day 21. But around day 8 or 9, I feel like Lucy, with the chocolates coming at her. And the chocolates are coming at me so fast that I'm just grabbing them and putting in my pocket. And before you know it,
you step back.
Yes. And now I feel bad about myself. And I didn't finish my assignment, and I'm ashamed. So I don't want to face his voice listening to the next tape because I didn't finish my assignment, and I didn't, because he always says, did you do your assignment? If you didn't do your assignment, then he kind of beats you up a little bit.
Does.
So finally, I went to my last one, and I said, that's it. I'm listening to it. And I listen. He goes, well, congratulations. Do you know that only 1% makes it to this tape? And I'm thinking, well, isn't that your fault? If you have a 99% failure rate, where is his responsibility in this?
Well, it's funny before you said that to me, as you say, I'm waiting for the last tape. I'm thinking to myself, I wonder how many people have never even touched, nonetheless listened to that last tape.
Many. He does address that.
Statistically,
he does address that. He does, yes.
That's why there's different approaches, and I love Tony Robbins. He's helped a lot of people in this world, and he builds a lot of self-confidence in people, and he gets them to think about their lives and how to better themselves, and all of that is an incredible exercise. But there's a part to it where I think it becomes a little too obsessive in details. And the fact of the matter is, I've learned in life that if I want to help you, Michele, you're not a baseball player, you're a comedian. And for me to have you spend 8 tapes trying to become a baseball player when in fact you're a comedian, I'm not certain it serves you well in the end. In our business, when you talk, whether it's advice or whatever it is on the radio, either people listen or they don't. We have ratings. We have quarter-hour reports. We know if, in fact, we still have them at the end of our process than we did at the beginning.
Exactly.
I know that in Bar Rescue. Either I still got them in the last quarter hour or I don't.
Right.
I think those programs lose you in the last quarter hour.
What's up with that? And why doesn't he look at that?
Because you're causing people to be something that they're not. And that's a difficult thing to do. And I'd rather work with people to help them be better at what they are. And I think it's a lot easier to embrace who you are expound upon it, perfect it, make it better, make it more dynamic, make it more profitable, make it more fun, all of those things. But I'm going to keep you, Michele. I'm not going to move you into being somebody else. That becomes uncomfortable, that becomes tedious, that becomes a challenge, and it becomes something you're not likely to do. Hence, the 8th tape is never touched.
That, you're absolutely correct. I mean, and I always blamed myself until I realized it's his fault. And I felt much better about myself. And I realized, he needs to take responsibility because, in fact, he does have a 99% failure rate. If he knows that that's true, then he has to take responsibility for that and fix that.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
And I don't want to speak badly, but there's a TV.
But am I wrong in that?
No, I don't
And
think
I'm a
you're
fan
wrong.
of his. So.
Yeah, and I'm a fan of his work as well. But, the television audience certainly wasn't.
Oh, you know what I think it was? See, the fact that you're co-executive producer, Jon Taffer, is a very smart thing you did. And I think he couldn't pull that off. I think he would have liked to pull it off. But I believe from watching that show, I bet you anything, if I had an interview with Tony Robbins, Tony would tell me, they made me do a show that wasn't me. I felt that way.
Well, boy, you'd think after 8 tapes he would have known to say no.
I can say from my own experience, because I do coach people also, I'm much better and more objective helping others than I am helping myself.
Well, I can be that way, too.
Yeah.
That's clearly understood.
I don't see the forest from the trees
I
sometimes.
hear you. Let me share something with you I think you'll find interesting. Bar rescue has been a really interesting process for me because you were talking earlier about how when I work with these people, they're desperate.
Absolutely.
And they are. In my real professional consulting life, I get paid for my services. People have to have money to get me there. I'm not cheap. They got to fly me. They got to put me in a nice hotel. They got to take care of me. And my process takes 2 or 3 months. The network is sending me into disasters, Michele. I mean, these people have no money. Their houses are on the line. They're sleeping in their parents' basement. They have no credit. They can't get food delivered. They can't get beverages delivered. I'd have had water and electric disconnect notice delivered while we're in the middle of shooting. These people are desperate.
Amazing.
So when I work with these people in bar rescue, it's changed my view of a lot of things.
Like what?
Failure. I have seen failure at a deeper level than I've ever seen it in my life. Because I have seen people that have failed for 2 years and wake up every morning and keep failing to the point that they've lost their houses, lost their marriages, lost their children, lost everything that was important to them.
Many people.
But most people tend to stop before they don't have any food to eat. Most people tend
Not
to
my
stop
friends.
before they lose their houses. So here's what I've
different
learned.
people, John.
Here's what I learned in bar rescue. And these are my 8 tapes in really a few sentences. Every failing business has a failing owner. And every failing owner has one common denominator in any business, and it's excuses.
Oh, God, I hate excuses. I know exactly what you mean.
So, it's the president. It's the Congress. It hasn't snowed this year. It snowed too much this year. It's been raining. It's been too sunny. Greece did it. It's all about... Never once, Michele, did they ever call me and say I'm failing because of me. And as long as they move that excuse to someone else, then they will wake up in the morning and fail again. And that's the reality of it. So I make them own failure.
So before you take them on, do you have a say in who's coming on the show? Well, you must, as co-executive producer, you must have a say and say, look, I don't want to fail here. I don't want to take on somebody that I don't believe has enough motivation to want to succeed or want to make changes.
What about the opposite of that? What about I do want to take that on?
Really? Even if you think
challenge.
that they...
Absolutely. I want to find bar rescues that are going to make me fail. And then I want to fight to the last minute to try to save it. That's what this is about, not easy cakewalks.
Isn't that interesting? Tony Robbins says the exact opposite in terms of he makes people convince them why he must come and save them. Otherwise, no, he doesn't want a bad record. It's like, that's very interesting.
Oh, no, I'm walking on thin ice, and I love walking on thin ice. That's the test. That's what makes me know that I'm the best at this, and I am. And that's why, because you can put me in those situations and watch me.
So far, I mean, I watched one episode from beginning to end that was online, and I thought it was very informative. And also, I wanted to ask you, I'm getting sidetracked already, I wanted to ask you about what you think about bartenders giving measured shots.
It all depends upon where.
Vegas.
It all depends upon where. Is this a
the
blue-collar
Strip.
downtown
The Strip.
bar that has...
It's the Strip. It's the middle of the Strip.
I don't believe jiggers should be used in a strip
I don't
location
either.
in Las Vegas. But the fact that I'm not using a jigger shouldn't affect my pour by anything. There's free pour tests that we do. You know, there's measurements. There's things that we buy that look like a flute, where each tube gets longer and are of different widths and different thicknesses. And we'll take a vodka bottle, we'll fill it with water, we'll put a pourer in it, and we'll test all the bartenders in free pouring. They have to pour a half ounce, an ounce, an ounce.
But
and a
if
quarter.
you're testing them, they're going to be on their good behavior if they know how to pour correctly,
Oh,
yes?
Yes, but you know, there's standards of performance, right? Standards are things that are qualifiable. This is what I want you to do. Quantifiable. This is when I want you to do it. And verifiable. I'm going to make sure you do. So my first step is to make sure they have the skills to do it. And then it's up to me to manage them and make sure they do. The first one who doesn't becomes the example for all the others.
So do you think it's very greedy of the casinos, like the big casinos, to take out shot glasses, and small-minded of them? Like Old Vegas, you've been here since... how long? 20 some odd years ago.
I've been coming here since the 70s.
That's true. So you've seen Vegas when they had the mentality of using beverage and food as a leader.
If I remember
giveaway.
correctly, they gave me a vodka bottle and a straw, if I'm not mistaken, back then.
And it kept you coming back, right?
It did.
I mean,
And
you
it's
know.
kept me at the tables for a long time,
There you
too.
go. So do you agree with the mentality, this corporate, when the corporations came in and nickel and dimed and every department has to pay for itself mentality?
Let me speak to that, because you ask a great question, and it's a deep question, and I want to give you a short, concise answer. We're in a marketing business. Bars and restaurants don't sell food. They don't sell beverages. We sell reactions. When we put a plate on the table, if you don't sit up and react to it, then it failed. We don't play music, we play reactions. And when you're on stage, you don't tell jokes, you tell reactions. You achieve it through the joke, don't you?
You're correct.
So I'm not in the business of selling food and beverage. I'm in the business of creating reactions. So if I pull out a shot glass and create a bad reaction, I'm a fool, because my business is first and foremost perceptions and creating reactions. But if I train correctly, then I don't need to do that. I can have my cake and eat it too. I can make the customer happy with no jigger and still manage my costs. I'm surprised they don't do that.
Well, Jon Taffer, you've made us very happy by being our guest here on Las Vegas Backstage Now. And I can't thank you enough, and I hope you come back.
I will. This was fun.
I hope
Absolutely.
you come back soon, because there's so much more I could talk to you about. And please stay tuned. We have Monti Rock III coming up, who's a columnist and entertainer, singer, and all that good stuff, pop icon. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for more personal backstage interviews with the celebrities on Las Vegas Backstage Now. Welcome back, and here's more of Las Vegas Backstage Now with your host, comedian Michele LaFong.
Hey, and another thanks to Jon Taffer. And now, as promised, I am delivering you Monti Rock III.
Do you believe it?
No, I don't. You're kind of a pop icon, aren't you?
Well, you know what? People don't know that my career began in, I was a hairdresser, #1 in New York City, discovered by Carson in 62, 1962.
How did you do Merv Griffin before?
I did Merv Griffin. No, I did after.
Oh, you did him after.
I was always fired because I was always late. I drank a lot, didn't care about television. I was like Paris Hilton. I had a beauty shop. I had beautiful men. I was married to a beautiful woman. I had monkeys. People wanted to meet me, and I wasn't in show business. I had a house in the country.
You kind of were. You just didn't know it.
I didn't know it. No, I had no perception.
You were in show business before you knew you were in show business.
I was a very good-looking Puerto Rican kid,
You still are. You're hot.
Who lived in the country, had a great lover, had dogs and monkeys, and I didn't know I was different. You know what I mean?
You didn't?
No, didn't know I was different. People photographed me. Like Avedon photographed me. Went to Paris. And my whole life became a celebrity, and I kind of didn't understand it until Johnny Carson found me in '62.
And how did he find you? I
went into show. I was a big hairdresser. I had like 60 women a day. I had a haircut. I charged $100 for a haircut.
At the time, that's amazing.
And had all Chinese, hello, and you go, you're fabulous. You didn't like my hair. Get out of here. You don't like, get out of here, bitch. Okay. So I had that career. Then I went to Paris, and Fabergé was building me a building, went to Europe, changed my name to Monti Crespi, and stayed in Europe for 2 years.
Monti what?
Crespi.
Why?
Because I wanted to be Italian, so I became a nobleman, and they said, how come you have a Spanish accent? I said, because my mother stopped in Puerto Rico. Okay, so I became this guy, this icon in Paris, met Brigitte Bardot, Alain Delon, met all these people, didn't know regime. Famous again. I didn't try it. Went to Saint-Tropez. I met Dornley Parker, made me a model, and became the most expensive model in the 60s, you know what I mean? So then I came back to America and had a shop. Fabergé was building me a building again. Very famous, very famous. But I was always full of it. I was, crappy. I didn't understand. I didn't get it.
But you invented the blunt haircut.
Yeah, but it wasn't the haircut. I was drunk one day, and Pauline Kiernan came in, a model said, hello, darling, I'm Pauline Kiernan. Oh, yes. Oh, what is that? Anyway, so I cut her hair, forgot to put, and it became lopsided. It became the cover of Harper's Bazaar. In 4 months, said, you're a genius. I said, oh, yeah, I'm a genius. And they locked me in a room, and I perfected the cut, went to Europe. Vidal Sassoon kind of copied it from there. Didn't like the fact that I was regimented. I get bored very easily. And I didn't like...
You get bored very easily.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so I had the perfect love. I had the dogs. I had a house in the country, matching lamps. And one day I say, if I'm going to be gay, I don't want to have matching lamps. So I gave up the gay life, married my second wife.
Wait a minute. Okay, stop right there.
Yeah.
How does somebody decide that they don't want to be gay anymore?
Well, I'm gay, but I didn't want to live the gay lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
I found it very
Thank
boring.
You. Okay, I'm glad we...
No, I'm gay, but
okay,
I didn't want to live the gay lifestyle with the perfect lover and speak and love Judy Garland. I didn't want to do it. So
you don't love Judy Garland?
I'll tell you my story about it. She's in my book in chapter 11. Okay, but
chapter 11, no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun. Mickey Dean was my piano player. Her piano player. Okay, so the story goes that you don't know what fame is. If you don't know.
Why do you look at me when you say that?
No, because the fame only comes if I knew what I had. I came in 1967 to Las Vegas, getting $15,000 a year, $14,000 to open Caesar's Palace with Evel Knievel jumping the fountain.
Wait a minute. When you were offered the gig, Monty Rock is now Caesar's Palace. What does Monty Rock do?
I didn't know. I had a show at the apartment, and they came in and they saw a line around the block. Said, "We got to book that." So they booked me, and I got all these guys to write an act for me. But I had seen Isadora Duncan, so I did like "Never Try to Buy Me" and all.
So you sang.
I sang.
You sang.
I talked.
How did you become a singer from a hairdresser?
I always was a singer in church. My parents raised me up in the church. I'm Pentecostal. But when they found that I was gay, they beat me for 3 days and threw me out of the house at 13, 14 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, it was great for me. I became a hooker. Anyway, so I sold myself $5, $10. Would you buy me, sir? So anyway, I was a hustler in New York City, a little boy.
How old?
14, 15.
Oh, my God.
It was great.
It was great.
Yeah, I perfected my act, because by the time
Dr. Phil would have a heyday with Monty Rock.
But the idea is, by the time I got you to bed, you were tired. Anyway, so
I am already. Yeah. Ask my husband.
No, but what happens to any career, if it happens the way it happened to me, it's wonderful because you don't have a clue. You understand? So in Caesar's Palace, there was Anthony Newley in the big room. There was Phyllis McGuire. There was Woody Woodbury. The Chet Makes, and I come on, and all the queens and the gang says, "What is this thing?" And Belle Barth says to me, "You better talk to the audience."
Belle Barth,
you
talk to Belle. I love
and
Belle
Rusty
Barth
Warren.
too.
So I come on stage, and the people are looking at me like, "What is this queen?" And the queens hated me because I was the highest queen to really blend the makeup, and I had a nude. I used to be nude, and
you were a trendsetter.
Yeah, I think I was the beginning of a cult. First they hated me, then they copied me.
Interesting.
I was like Cochise. I'm the leader, you queens. You'll follow me next season, okay? So, so it became. They held me over, but I miss my house in New York. I miss my beach house.
Okay, before you go on, we have a clip of you singing, and you're going to have to explain what we're going to be. Actually, we're hearing it first, and then you'll explain.
Come on, Hollywood, what about we need you? We need you to go dance. We need you to get together and boogie, woogie, woogie, boogie. Radar Love is here, the star of stars. This is your night. This is your life.
Mike's around.
7 million records.
Wait, that was 7 million records.
I was discotheques. I made a record in 1972. I was with Bob Crew, who wrote Jersey Boys, all these songs.
Of course,
Bob
yes.
Crew. And I lived in Hollywood, and I had a nightclub in Hollywood. I thought I was, by the time I was 28, 20, I thought my career, I did the Tonight Show, I had a nightclub. I was kind of a Hollywood character. I made films. I made a Western, and I drank a lot, did a lot of drugs, and everyone, I was people like me. So they did. They liked
You
me.
just was so stoned. You just thought that.
Oh,
I'm
I
just
knew that.
kidding.
I knew that, darling. But
I knew that,
I also knew that I didn't want to get old. At 29, I thought the career was over, and I didn't. I want to quit the Tonight Show. And Johnny Carson gets me on the contract 11 times a year, I think it is. And he says to me one day, why don't you want to sing? I said, because I have to get here at 3. It cuts my day. So he said, you should be honored to sing with the band. I said, I'm not honored.
Interesting. That's why I saw a clip of you. I couldn't understand on Merv Griffin. I saw a clip of you on YouTube where you said, but I didn't rehearse. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't you rehearse?
I never rehearsed.
It's because
never rehearsed.
You didn't want to come early to rehearse.
I didn't want to rehearse. You understand?
Oh, you like doing things on the fly. That's it.
I like sing without a net. I don't care. But what makes any career, the audience loves you when you really do it like that, because you show your chutzpah, you show your spirit, you show your. It's not about talent and passion. It's having the spirit to go out there and pull it over.
You're a showman.
Yeah, showman. So what happens to any performer who entertainment's never liked me because I was never the norm. You couldn't.
You know what? I have the same problem, Monty Rock. I can't tell you now. Is it Monty Rock the Third? Monty Rock?
No, it's the Reverend. I'm a Reverend. I'm an ordained minister.
Yes.
I do weddings, funerals, and divorces. Anyway, I do anything for money. Okay, let me explain to you. Hooker never changes. Okay, let me explain this to you. But what happens is when you have that record, and Bob Crew changed my name to Discotheques. I moved to Florida. I decided I don't want to be in show business. The record becomes a big record. And Bob Crew and I are not talking because my Discotheques. I meet an agent called Ruth Bowen who had Aretha Franklin and Sammy Davis. And I walk in there with my Fox coat. I'm getting the first time I lip synced that record in New York, I got like $1,500. I got $1,500. And the Queen said, I felt like, I died and went to heaven. But Ruth Bowen said to me, if you sing this live, you could open at Madison Square Garden with Gloria Gaynor.
Gloria Gaynor?
Ooh. Anyway,
well, now we know how you feel.
Van and Harold Miller. Anyway, so I opened with a black. I was a minstrel act. I had always a black act. Everybody in my act was black.
Oh, I thought you said menstrual act. I'm like, me too. I'm dying. I got cramps.
So anyway, so this act became a big hit. I became the Chitlin Circuit. I worked and worked and worked. And one day, I didn't want to do it anymore. I quit that after my third album. I didn't want to sing anymore. And I went into acting. And I was living in Mexico because one of my lovers was murdered in my pool.
Whoa.
Bitch. Okay, so when he died in Hollywood, when your husband is murdered, when you're indicted, you're invited. You see, when so the minute I became a murderess, I wore black.
A murderess.
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, the Mary Weirdo. Okay, so
Monty Rock, you're killing me.
So anyway,
I could see why you're a reverend.
So there's no
you're
way.
irreverent.
So the career only happens because it's supposed to happen. I believe things in life are supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
We're like that. So I believe after the records, I'm in Mexico, and I'm not convicted. And I become a Spanish act, and I'm going with the president's son, this fat queen who had good coke. Anyway, so now they want me out of Mexico, And I get a script from Freddie Gershon about a film. He said, you want to do a movie? I need $11,000 in 1976. And the movie was Saturday Night Fever. I'm the DJ. I played myself.
I remember that,
So I did Sgt. Pepper's. I did Comeback Trail. I did I did like 16 movies and a Western called with Buster Crabbe, Annabelle, and Buster Crabbe. And Chuck McCann. Anyway, so then I went on Broadway, but I have no discipline. Woman Behind Bars. I did Vain Victory. I did a lot of shows. But I get bored.
So what happened?
I quit.
Did you get fired?
Of course I got fired. When I walked in, I got fired. But it wasn't about getting fired. I wanted a poster. Anyway, so...
I hear you.
I don't care. I think either you have the guts to remain in the industry or you don't.
Right.
And I have the guts to remain, even in Vegas. This is where I am good at. I'm a columnist, a gossip columnist.
You're a wonderful columnist.
I would be number one because I believe that I tell the truth.
You get to the meat and potatoes
Not
really
the meat and
quick.
potatoes.
You just do.
Listen.
You tell it like it is.
We're we're right now in the worst economy. We have the worst, I'm going to say foreclosures. 25. Our gas is going to be $4.25 in 2 weeks. We have unemployment. We have homelessness. We have all this stuff. Okay, we have all this stuff, and I'm here to tell you, let's all, people, when we were all like going on and saying, I'm tired, I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm for the people. I live in Vegas. I live on my residuals. I live on my Social Security. I live on the people that I live on my.
I'm voting for Monty Rock. I am voting for the Reverend Monty Rock. The heck with Obama.
Yes,
the
Obama.
heck with all the other
But look at the world. Look what's happening to the
candidates.
world now. Look what's happening.
You got my vote.
You got
Monty
it.
Rock,
Hollywood.
the Reverend
The
Monty
Reverend,
Rock.
the
Much
star.
more when we return.
I love you. Hollywood. Hollywood.
Stay tuned for more personal backstage interviews with the celebrities on Las Vegas Backstage Now. And now more of Las Vegas Backstage Now, bringing to you backstage stories with today's celebrities. Now here's your host, comedian Michele LaFong.
Hey, we are so back with the Reverend Monty Rock, giving me so many great stories during the break.
No, but they're all true, And
of course.
About Get Dancing, and I Want to Dance With You, they were really top 10 records. But there was a point that I just couldn't stand being on the road. Into my home, I walked out in the mansion, my cars, and there was a murder, and my life became...
Wait a minute, there's a murder. I mean, you can't fluff over a murder.
But if you don't have a murder in your life and you're indicted one time, you don't have a life. Anyway,
you know who said that? Kato Kalin. Actually, he didn't say it, but he meant it.
but I'm saying to you, it's okay. It's okay if you're innocent. You see, if I was innocent, of course, in my eyes, my life has always been one of...
So you were a suspect, basically.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it because it gave me a clout. It gave me people. I used to have a nail file, and she's a murderess, and
murderess,
and she left Bob Crew, and she's a mean queen. I'm not a mean queen. I'm an honest queen. I don't believe anything in life has happened to me that I haven't made it happen.
Wow.
What I believe when I lost my millions of dollars and room service and bad men and
how do you lose millions of dollars?
I invested in room service and going to London, buying houses.
But that's before the economy. I mean,
no, but it goes quickly when you invest in houses and your maids and your lovers. I had 3 lovers at a time. One lover in Mexico, one lover.
Oh, that's expensive.
It's very expensive because
it cost me a fortune.
Well, if you're going to pay for men, you're going to suffer. Okay, so
now you tell me.
The idea is this. I have nothing in my book is called The Fabulous Life That Was Monty Rock III. If you read part of the review I just gave you, when I came in 75, they said I made Lawrence Welk made Liberace like Lawrence Welk.
You made Liberace look like Lawrence Welk. Wow.
At the Sahara. And I couldn't stand that. So I went back to New York, went to Miami, and became a gay gigolo. I had Rent-A-Star, and I had a nightclub next to a spa where all these rich women would come in, and I was saying, "Never try to buy me, never let me know." Anyway, and I would sit there, and I would all my diamonds and makeup, and I would sit with you, and if you want to talk to me, it costs you $100. Well, this woman would come in every night with all her diamonds, and she had a shadle and a halo, like a bad wig, but she had beautiful Chanel clothes. And I said, why do you have the bad wig? She said, because there's a religious thing. I said, let me take the wig home, and I combed it, and she became a Monti Rock, and I did her hair, and she told me she had $55 million left. I said, oh, we can work on that. So anyway, I fixed her breasts, went shopping to New York.
Well, you didn't fix them, but you paid to have them
yeah.
fixed.
I
Yes,
lifted her
just
brain,
want to qualify
lifted her
that.
face, and I went shopping for 10 years. Okay, so that's part of my career. The part you have to take the opportunity and seize it.
Now, you became a reverend. When did that happen?
My
The
whole li- my
Monti
whole li-
Rock
I'm
became
really
a reverend.
I'm really a psychic. I'm really a born psychic.
Would you read me?
I can't. You don't have enough money. Anyway, it's very expensive.
How did you know I didn't have a... Boy, you are good. Monti Rock, you are just amazing.
There's a guy called Walter Mercado.
better than Sylvia
There's
Brown,
Walter
I'll tell you.
Mercado, and as my mother raised me up in church to be a preacher. And I used to open my mother's sermon. No, yo, ¿por qué será? And I did my mother's hair, and I was in church, I had the Holy Ghost. And when they found that I was gay, they beat me for 3 days because they wanted to beat the gay out of me.
Couldn't they tell that you were gay by the fact that you didn't ruin her hair?
No. Here's what it was. It was because I was blonde, light, and I was born with breech birth, and I was like the 10. I came out, they said, oh, he's the lead. I said, oh, this is good. So they gave me all these robes, and one day I left the neighborhood, and I went, and these little black kids followed me and said, little boy, I'm a little boy. That shocked me. Do you want to see stars? I said, yes. And they hit me with a rock in a sock and knocked me out.
Goodness.
And I told my mother, I don't believe I'm... Anyway, so, because you're born gay. You're born gay. So
well, I'm not, but apparently
I was born gay.
I'm just saying.
But I just don't. I don't think being gay is that important. It's who you are as a human being.
Absolutely.
That you could live life on your own terms.
Absolutely.
Your terms
And honestly.
And the fact is that I have to be non-intrusive. I have to be non-threatening. I have to work with people. Listen. If I don't like you, I don't like you. I just dump you. I have a way of sending you a sympathy card, dead flowers, or.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, manure.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to say who, but there's been a couple of people that when we announced that we're having you on the show, you got a lot of comments on Facebook. People remember you, my God, from Johnny Carson and whatever. But there were a lot of people, not a lot, a couple of people. Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't matter who, but they were like, I don't understand why he picks on me. And I said,
but
you must have done something.
I pick on people because they deserve it.
They deserve it.
And I pick on you. Here's what it is, darling. Please understand this. Certain people, if you cannot be in the kitchen and you can't take the heat, get out. I've never cooked a meal in my life because my grandmother told me I had these hands. So my grandmother, Mama Yoya, a spiritualist, by the way, told me you should never cook. So I never cooked in my life. So when I found a lover, the first thing I did, you have to go cook for me. And I would sit there in my chair and they cook it. I go, you're not going to work. Aren't you going to go to Beverage? You just passed the cooking test.
My goodness, he didn't pass the cook test.
So what it is about life, if we have to go to this world and explain that I have the knowledge and the experience to tell you, listen, I forgive anyone who deserves to be, but I don't pick on people. I really don't. I just don't like you to think that you're more important than I am. How dare you? I love myself. I like myself.
So maybe they showed attitude.
No, it's not attitude. It's at one point at the height of my fame, I was told this by a big agent. Your career is over. I said it was over when it started. You know what I mean? When I
Monti Rock, they should put that in needlepoint.
Okay.
It was over before it started.
Of course.
My career. That's funny.
Okay. And when I got fired from Las Vegas, they threw me out. The mob wanted me out in 24 hours. And
really?
Oh yeah. I was bad. I got drunk, fell off the stage, had bare ass, and that was all.
They should be used to that.
No, they wouldn't. Not that. Oh, I was bad.
There was a lot of that going on.
I was a bad boy. Okay. But then I'm in New York City in my brownstone, and the Tonight Show calls me. Shirley Wood, my talent, goes, so Johnny wants you back on the show. I said, oh, my career's over. She said, darling, get real. What career? Anyway, so and on the show there was Paul Anka. There was everybody saying, how could you book this faggot with no talent, bring him to Vegas?
That's
and
too
keep
much.
them there 15 weeks. So it is a fact that people love someone who has a heart, has spirit, has a tenacity to able to survive in spite that I have no talent. The talent that I'm a good.
You can't say you have no talent.
I have no talent.
Because actually,
my talent is my survival skills.
But you are a natural entertainer.
But
you
I'm
see?
not. Listen, I'm going to be honest to you. Talent is those people. I can't stand American Idiot. I can't stand those reality shows. Look what happened to Clay Aikens. Look what happened to
What
Alan
happened?
Lambert.
What do you mean?
Why was he born? Okay, so let me explain this to you.
Why was he born?
Why was he living? Okay, so let me tell you. And they fired this new guy on this beautiful black guy who had did you know American Idol? They let this guy go because he had a felon and he had.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
Listen, give me a break. We're all felons. We all been convicted. It makes and what about my wonderful niece Jennifer Lopez, who goes with 10-year-old kids soon. Anyway.
Soon. She goes with 10-year-old kids,
no,
really?
24-year-old, 22-year-old
okay.
kid.
All right.
And
Same
has
thing.
twins
Right.
and everything. And, the most beautiful woman in the world, all that work. Listen, it's the fact that it's markable. It's markable. I'm a good friend of Charo. I love Charo. She started all that
she's
stuff.
wonderful.
Genius.
Yes, absolutely.
But if you don't like me, I can take it. I can take it. I don't need people to tell me, listen, when I was younger, I was less, I was about my looks. So, I always want my looks, my body, my whole thing. Once the body leaves and the face drops, you go, okay, next.
Well, I wouldn't know.
No, but it is about, you're a comic. You're a comic. You understand, you know what you have to offer. You want to do this, you have to have millions of people. What my problem is with all this stuff, unless millions of people are reading me and listening to me, I don't want to do it.
Right, exactly.
So I have a thing about, I've been on television. I did.
But they were
82
watching you. You had millions
of people.
You did, but
millions
you
of
still
people.
didn't want to do it because you have a short attention span.
No, it's because once I had the fame, I wanted room service. A room service, and I wanted to enjoy my life, my home, my life. That's why I had monkeys.
What kind of monkeys did you have?
Ugly ones. The Steven Tyler book just came out. Noises in My Head. He wrote 2 books about me. Steven Tyler, that I seduced him and tied him up. And Vanity Fair just told me, how come you tied people up when they came to your house? I say, because I always need a captive audience. Anyway, so...
Oh, you are bad, Monty
bad,
Rock.
not bad,
My
but
God.
I'm real. I just want life to be good, peaceful, kind. And if I'm going to do something... I want the world to know that I'm kind. I'm a power of kindness.
But what kind?
No, but
That's
I'm a kind man.
They go, Monty Rock, what does Monty Rock do? Everybody
He
asks
lives.
me that.
He loves life. He lives. He lives with the same partner for 36 years. Bruce, my partner.
Is that the truth?
36 years.
Or did it just seem like 36 years
No,
to one of
36
you,
years
or
with the
both
same
of you?
with the same human being. Yeah.
Wow.
He's my manager, my partner, my genius who runs my career like Carlo Ponti.
So what do you attribute 36 years at?
To trust. To trust.
Wow.
To knowing that when I go to bed, I have my goggles on, my chin strap, my little cotton gloves, my 7 pillows, and my stuffed toys, and say, good night, Gracie. Okay. And I go to bed. If you live with someone who's so self-absorbed and so in love with himself, you have a good life. I let you share.
I have to tell my husband that
It's
because
true.
maybe he has no idea
Yes,
how
he does.
blessed you're right. He does. He
How long
does.
you been
I have
married?
The best husband. I've been married like 10 years.
Okay, how many kids?
None.
Okay, you are with the person you're supposed to be with.
Absolutely.
So what it is, I've had a lot of lovers. I had big stars as lovers, and I had great lovers. I had fabulous lovers.
That's what we have in common.
But the fact is, I could
They're
have.
probably the same people.
No, but the thing is that I needed someone to care for me, to build me a home, to help me with my wings. When I traveled with my partner, we lived in Miami, we lived in New York, we lived in Mexico, in Aruba. I traveled the world. So I want to say to you, your life will begin now. I'm here to bless you, to tell you the world listen to you, and to everybody, love yourself, dig yourself. Look in the mirror, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's this fruit? Who's this fruit?
Well, I must say, Monty Rock, I mean, I do what you say. I
love yourself.
Yes, I just loved myself
yourself.
last night.
Love yourself. Like yourself.
And
let the
like
world listen.
yourself is much harder
remember,
than loving yourself.
if you're going to do this, you got to get the masses to hear you.
Absolutely.
Masses.
But Monty Rock's going to help me with that, correct?
Without the masses hearing you,
You didn't answer me. Monty Rock's going to help me with that,
But
correct?
it's important that you know that.
I
The voice, I'm
noticed.
telling you.
Okay.
Because when
You
I
said
had
of
50 million
course.
people watch me a week, it was genius.
Monty Rock, thank you so
Legend,
much. It's
icon,
been fun.
Reverend.
Monty Rock. And we
You've
will
been
have you
listening
back.
to
Love
From
you.
the City of Entertainment, Las Vegas Backstage Now, the only show that gets up close and personal with the stars. Thanks for listening. And until next week, stay in touch with us on the web at LasVegasBackstageNow.com.